First in news, we're CBS News Radio 78, WBBM, Chicago.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. In a great narrative poem, Sir Walter Scott wrote, "And come he slow, or come he fast, it is but death who comes at last." The phrase of choice for one of our foremost weekly magazines is, "As it must to all men." That we must die is a constant in all our lives. But how? Through what agency? And where will we pass to once beyond that gate? That is the open question which will never be answered. The speculation from which stories such as this are spun.
Oh, I knew it.
You knew what?
Anytime the old man sends me out on a special assignment, there'd have to be trouble.
Not unless you make it. Don't tell me you're here for the same lady, Lucifer.
That's right, Michael.
Well, that poses quite a problem, doesn't it?
Our mystery drama, War of Angels, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Ann Williams. It is sponsored in part by Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. I'll be back shortly with Act 1.
Be a perfect sleeper, buy a perfect sleeper, perfect sleeper, by Serta.
I'm Susan Anton, and there is a better way to sleep. The Perfect Sleeper by Serta. Every perfect sleeper, from the signature one to the Avanti with pillow soft top, gives you firmness that feels good. Firm, deep support for your back and luxurious comfort on top for you. See your Serta dealer soon.
It's a good feeling to sleep the night away on a perfect sleeper by Serta. Be a perfect sleeper, buy a perfect sleeper, perfect sleeper by Serta. It's a good feeling to sleep the night away on a perfect sleeper by Serta. Be a perfect sleeper, buy a perfect sleeper, perfect sleeper by Serta.
This is Gary Collins for your Heritage Bank. When you open a top-line account at a Heritage Bank, your savings earn interest from day of deposit to day of withdrawal. What's more, that interest is paid monthly, not quarterly. Your monthly top-line statement that summarizes your checking and savings activities shows you exactly how much interest your savings earned and were paid each month. Remember top-line. It's good for your bottom line.
Heritage Bank, we're a big name in your neighborhood.
Members FDIC.
Give me a smile with everything on it, and I'll pass it on.
So give me a Coke when you smile, and I promise to pass it along. I'm gonna pass it along. The world needs a break when it's tired and thirsty. Coke and smiling, how it should be. Coke and life, Coca-Cola and life.
When the score of your life is totaled up, where will you stand? On the side of the angels or the devil? It's a fair guess that very few of us would fall squarely in one camp or the other. We'd probably hover somewhere in the middle and hope that our fate beyond would at least be open to discussion or adjudication. But supposing it had been determined before our demise, not by just one immortal force, but two, diametrically opposed, who would win? Let's have Lillian Bryant, publisher and president of Bryant Publications, answer that question for us.
Okay, Mary, I have the morning list. Tell my daughter I'll call her back. You can inform Norman Whaler I will not pay 1 cent more for the article, and I want it held to 5,000 words. Oh, I can't see Hunt Dixon until next week. Find an open spot. I'll take the call from Brugger, and, you can send Mr. Turner right in. Brugger, it's Lillian Bryant. I can't make it. My calendar's jammed. Oh, well, I agree it's a worthy cause. Of course. You know I'm a sucker wherever children are concerned. Come. Oh, yes, I'm listening. You have my full attention. Park somewhere, Bert. Oh, if you want coffee, help yourself. What do you want me to do? Separate like an amoeba? I'll be on the West Coast that weekend. But I'll send you a check for $5,000. Just see that some of it filters through the overhead and gets to the kids. Oh.
Charities.
Forget it, Bert. I just got the circulation figures on Action.
So did I.
I'm taking too much flack from my distributors. They don't want your magazine anymore.
It pays its way.
Not with all the new hikes we've taken. Print, paper, personnel, distribution, pension plans, cost of living.
Spare me the doleful roll call. What's the message? Go find another house to publish my brainchild?
No other house would take it. And you can't make it on your own.
What are you after, Lillian?
The magazine. I want you to sell it to me.
My, we are charitable today. How much?
I'll give you $200,000 over what you owe me already.
I don't owe you anything. That loan was a private one from Walt to me.
Correction. Walter Bryant was my husband, and he left me everything when he died. The money came from Bryant Publications, of which I am the owner now. And I'm calling it in. Name your price.
I haven't got one, Lil. Action is my baby. It's my life.
It isn't selling. No advertiser will look at it.
Bryant Publications can carry it. You need it for the prestige.
Oh, prestige be damned. I want everything this house publishes to make money. That's what we're in this business for.
Well, you know that wasn't Walt's thinking.
Look, Walt was my husband and your friend. But he isn't here anymore. My thinking runs this business now. I'll give you $250. That's my top offer.
What would you do with it?
Change it from top to bottom.
Cheapen it, you mean?
I'd make it sell to the public and to advertisers.
I'll bet you would at that.
Well, do we have a deal?
Do I have the opportunity to make a last statement?
If you make it short.
If only I could make it sweet. Lillian, I've loved you for a long time. I lost you first to Jim Anthony, whom you loved, and second to Walter Bryant, whom you didn't. But Walt was my friend. He believed in me. More than that, he knew that magazine was my mistress, my wife, my children, my whole life. Without it, I have nothing. Look, I won't cry on your shoulder because you know that as well as I do. And it doesn't mean anything to you. So, of course, I'll sell to you. I haven't any other choice. I'm in hock up to my ears.
Well, Bert, if you had personal debts, you know you only have to ask me.
No, you will never let me live with you. I'll be hanged if I'll live off you.
It's only a matter of good business.
Lil, ever since Jim walked out on you, that's your life, isn't it? You married Walt for the business, knowing he was going to die. You knew Walt intended me to take over, but you muscled me out and left me with one magazine. Now even that you'll take away from me. All right, you can have it. But it'll cost you $500,000.
You strike a hard bargain.
For my lifeblood? Take me with it as editor, and you can have it for nothing.
That's not the deal. Bert, I'm sorry.
No, you're not, Lil. Not really. Sorrow is an emotion, and iron ladies don't have those. You don't have any feelings anymore. You know how I know?
How?
Because I don't have any left myself. And to feel is to live. And if we faced it and took a good look at ourselves, we'd realize that we might as well be dead. But I did love you once, Lil.
Bert! Oh, I could kill that man. Mary, you can get my daughter. I'm ready to talk to her. Okay, Lil. Pull yourself together. You've got something good going for you. Dee Dee called. My baby, Dee Dee. If she'll just say one kind word to me. Dee Dee, it's Mom. Oh, honey, I'm so glad you called. Sorry I couldn't get back to you right... Huh? Oh, I thought maybe you... Well, then why did you call? What? Deke busted? What for? Oh, how much was he carrying? Oh, well, thank the Lord for that. I'll get my lawyers on it right away. What? Oh, Dee Dee, have a heart and screw your head on straight. I can't just let him walk away from this after I spring him. I've got to talk it out with him. Get him straightened out. Dee Dee, I'm not interfering. I'm only trying to help. Yes, I read you loud and clear. But I'm never going to stop fighting for you. You're my children, and I love you. Just, why do you both hate me so much? Dee Dee? Dee Dee? Oh, busted. Where did I fail? Mary, get me the legal department. I want to talk to Roger Krause right now.
What's the difference, Mom? It's a free country. If I want to be a pothead, who's to stop me?
Me. I won't let my son throw himself away.
Oh, for Pete's sake, will you cut it?
Cut what?
The silver cord. I'm a big boy now.
Oh, not the way you're acting, you're not.
I am old enough to make my own decisions. I swore when you stuck your oar in between Sissy and me that was the end of the apron string.
I saved your neck then, and I'm trying to save it again.
I don't want you to save it. I want you off it.
You want me to revoke the bail and send you back to that filthy jail you just got out of?
Oh, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Nothing matters since Sissy...
Oh, act your age. The girl was older than you. She was beneath your class, and the whole thing was a cut-and-dried hold-up. So I bought her off. She was more than willing to settle for that.
Now, look, I love Sissy.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
And she loved me.
Oh, now that's a horse of a different
She was carrying my child. Didn't you care? Didn't you want a grandchild?
Now hear this, Deke, and get it through your head. Of course I want grandchildren. But I don't believe for one moment that she was carrying a child. And if she was, it's an outside bet that she couldn't tell whose it was. She picked you because she thought you had what she was really after. Money. Well, she has no complaints. She got it. She was well paid.
No complaints.
Oh, Deke, son, listen to me. Just in case there really was a child, do you think I would have skimped on providing for it? After all I had to go through to make do for my own children? The last thing I would ever do is leave any woman in the spot I got left in.
You didn't have any problems getting out of it. All you had to do was make it with the boss.
Oh, no. Don't you try to cheapen me. Drag me down to the level of your little round-heeled hooker. I never pulled any punches with Walter Bryant. He knew my feelings for your father and all I had to offer. He walked into our marriage with his eyes open. He knew I married him because of you and Dee Dee. Oh, if I'd followed my own wishes, it would have been Bert Turner I turned to. He might have made me forget Jim.
Well, why didn't you?
Because I knew he could never provide the things I wanted my children to have.
It's a pity you never asked us what we wanted.
Oh, well, there were precious few complaints from either of you. You both enjoyed the money and the schools and the cars and the opportunities you had. It took a rotten little tramp like your Sissy to turn you against me.
Will you stop calling her that?
I call them as I see them. I call a spade a spade.
Okay. Then why don't you take one of your spades and dig your grave the way you did for Sissy?
Deke, what are you saying?
You heard me. She's dead. Why do you think I blew my mind and got myself stoned? Because she's dead. Threw herself on the subway tracks in front of a train, committed suicide. And it's your fault, Mom. Sissy's dead and you killed her.
Oh, no. No. Mary, find Bert Turner right away and have him come straight in. Tell him it's an emergency. I want him to take me somewhere. Would you pull back the sheet, attendant, please? Yes, it's her.
You all right, Lillian?
Just a little faint. Take me out of here, Bert.
Sure. Come on.
You don't have to hold me. I'm all right.
Why did you put yourself through that?
I had to be sure.
Now you know?
Just get me in a cab and take me home, Bert?
All right, Lil, it won't be long now. Just a few more blocks.
It doesn't make any difference. Wherever I go, I won't get away from it.
Got to stop blaming yourself.
Well, who else can I blame? I didn't realize what a hard, bitter woman I'd become. Empty of love and affection, feeling.
No one who saw you now would think of you like that.
My children, too. I lost Dee Dee a long time ago, but I never thought that my little boy, he told me he wanted to see me dead. Oh, Bert, if I could only do it over. If I only had another chance. As God is my witness, may he strike me dead. If I wouldn't do it better.
Lillian. Lil, what is it? Lil. Oh, no. Driver, get us to the nearest hospital. Fast.
The oldest and the commonest prayer in the world. If I could only do it over. If I only had another chance. Well, that seems to be out of Lillian Bryant's hands now, after suffering what seems to be a massive stroke. But the hands in which it does lie are rather surprising ones. And I'm sure you'll agree when I return with Act 2.
At the store, they told me there's a powerful anti-itch drug I can buy without a doctor's prescription. Now, I use Bicozine cream as directed. No more burning, embarrassing itching. No more scratching. Bicozine actually speeds healing. Bicozine cream. What a relief.
Time to change your laxative. X-Lax pills gently stimulate your system's own natural rhythm, and that makes all the difference. X-Lax pills, for occasional use only as directed.
Take your contact, take it now. Give your cold to contact.
Can your cold medicine fight the congestion, shrink the swollen membranes, help relieve the runny, sneezy, cloggy misery caused by every known cold virus? Are you sure? Contact can. Today's Contact does all that up to 12 hours, all day, all night, no matter what cold virus attacks. That's the wonder of Contact.
Give your cold to contact.
Take only as directed.
Something good is about to happen.
Something good is about to happen. Something good is about to happen. For you at South Lake Mall.
No matter what the weather's like where you are, it's springtime at South Lake Mall. In spite of its tremendous size, South Lake Mall is just as squeaky clean as springtime. Truckloads of new spring merchandise are arriving daily. Say goodbye to winter in a wonderful way. You'll enjoy South Lake Mall's weekly special events. They're more exciting than ever. Spend a day at South Lake Mall. It's one of the biggest, and we think one of the best. Come celebrate your right to spring at South Lake Mall, where you can be sure that
Something good is about
to happen. For you at South Lake Mall.
Tomorrow, the Joe Don Petting Zoo comes to South Lake Mall, and it's free. The whole family will enjoy seeing and feeding the animals at South Lake Mall, I-65 and US 30, Merrillville, Indiana.
In the midst of life, we are in the midst of death. Of whom may we seek for succor but of thee, O Lord? Words from the burial service in the Book of Common Prayer run through Bert Turner's bowed head, sitting outside in the emergency waiting room, while inside a team of doctors works frantically to restore the spark of life to Lillian Bryant's body. He is much too absorbed in his own thoughts to notice that he is no longer alone. Not that he would have noticed anyway, for the two who have entered are invisible to mortal eyes.
By all that's holy. Michael.
Speak of the devil. Lucifer. What brings you here?
To this hospital? I have a pickup.
Must be rather important to bring out heavy artillery like you. Couldn't Death have handled it on his regular round?
This one is special delivery. Already assigned to us. The old man felt it needed expert handling. You want to pick up, too?
Yes.
A little out of your line, isn't it?
My principal didn't want us to go through regular channels.
Who are you here for?
Lillian Bryant, also known as Lillian Anthony, also known by her maiden name, Lillian Bruce.
I knew it.
You're here for the same lady?
Yes.
It poses quite a problem, doesn't it?
I don't see why, Michael. I've been looking over her dossier. This dame is a real grade A witch.
Strange. But that's not the impression I get from the dossier I was given on the lady.
If you'd read mine, you'd have no doubt about her.
If you leafed through mine, you'd find out she doesn't really belong in your place. Do you care to have a look?
All right. She hasn't quite crossed over yet. It'll serve to pass the time.
Yes, heaven only knows how long it may take. Careful of the pages. I wouldn't want them singed or smudged with soot.
You may find my record a little hot for you. Maybe you'd better put on your gloves.
Don't worry. Now, with your permission, I like to concentrate when I read. Subject born May 16, 1939. Married high school sweetheart Jim Anthony, 1957. First child, Dee Dee, a girl, born 1958. Second child, Deke, boy, born 1959. Hired as stenographer in the pool at Bryant's Publications, 1962. Met Bert Turner the following year.
Hey, it's really coming down, isn't it?
Oh, yes. And I forgot my umbrella.
Me too. Hey, you work in our company, don't you, with Brian?
Yes, I do, in the steno pool. I'm Lillian Anthony.
Well, I'm Bert Turner.
Oh, hi.
Hey, there's the cab. Come on.
Oh, come on, where?
I'll give you a ride. You don't think I want to be responsible for a pretty girl like you being drowned?
So, I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong idea of Mr. Turner.
Bert, what wrong idea?
Well, I don't think you'd have gone this far out of your way if you'd known I was married and had 2 babies.
Why not? Who takes care of the kids?
My husband.
Oh, doesn't he have a job?
Not just at the minute. He's studying.
What?
Something to do with calculators.
Good field. Well, we're just about at your place. And the rain seems to have stopped, too. I think I'll let the cab go and walk the rest of the way.
I'm sure would like to invite you in for a drink or something, meet my husband, but...
Oh, no, that's all right. Just forget it. Here, let me help you out.
Thanks.
Here you go, driver.
Well, I don't know how to thank you.
Oh, forget it. Yeah, I'll walk you to the door.
It costs an awful lot for that cab.
Ah, forget it. I'm the last of the big spenders.
Oh, that sounds like the baby. I'd better get in. Oh.
What's the matter?
I can't get the door open.
Well, here, let me help. Well, there must be something lying against it. There. Oh,
Jim.
Shall I call a doctor?
No. He's all right. Just drunk. Oh, Jim.
I don't know what to say,
Oh, just don't say anything around the office, please. As you see, my calculator expert isn't exactly something I can count on.
That was the beginning of a friendship between Bert Turner and the Anthonys. A friendship both abused and welcomed by Lillian and her husband. He, because he could always borrow money from Bert. Lillian, because in the man she loved, she had found only half a man. Then one evening, some 3 years later, the friendship ended.
Hello?
Bert, it's Lillian. I just wanted to tell you not to come over tonight.
Why? What did I do wrong?
Nothing, funny man. It's me has been done wrong.
Jim, he finally walked out on you.
He's been gone for 3 days now.
He'll come crawling home.
Not this time. He's got a meal ticket. And she doesn't have 2 kids for him to offer non-support to.
Well, I've been a long time waiting for this moment.
Oh, no, it's no good, Bert. There's nothing for us.
I think I could make you happy, Lil. I could give you love.
No, Thank you. I tried that. And where did it get me? Like the song says, I'm through with love.
Give me a chance.
I am. To get away from me. If I've caught you, Bert, I'm throwing you back. I'm after nothing but big fish from here on in.
Hi, Lil.
Well, hello, Bert.
You're working pretty late, aren't you?
I have to. I have to take all the overtime I can. Kids get more expensive as they grow older.
No word from Jim?
Are you kidding?
How long's it been now?
Oh, I don't know. Nearly a year. Why?
Why don't you give him the divorce he wants?
When the time is right, I'll get the divorce and make him pay through the nose. But that's peanuts. I want a lot more than that.
Like what?
You really want to help me, Bert?
Do I have to answer that?
All right. Connie Behrens is leaving. I want her job.
Mr. Bryant's private secretary?
Why not? I know this place inside out. I'm the best typist in the house and take the fastest dictation. You're a great favorite of his. You could get that job for me.
You can't be after him, Lil.
Why not?
He's already married.
So, he's not working at it.
Lil, you're really going off the track. You don't need to go down that road. You have me, Lil. I'll marry you and take care of your kids tomorrow.
No, that's out, Bert. I told you that before. You're a good friend, and I don't want to hurt you. You and I would never work out.
Why not, if you gave it a chance?
Because you're never going anywhere far enough and fast enough for me. From now on, I'll claw and cheat and push and struggle till I get right to the top. And look out anyone who gets in the way.
The subject now marked her employer as her prey. She couldn't marry him because he was already wed to a wife who was in the terminal stage of a lingering illness. But she did make herself indispensable to him in every way while she bided her time. She shipped her children off to boarding schools and opened her apartment to him.
The record player too loud, dear?
No. No, it's perfect.
Want me to rub your temples so you can really relax?
Would you? I have a splitting headache.
Well, you work too hard.
Until you came along, it's all I knew how to do.
Well, just give me half a chance and I'll teach you how to forget work.
I wish I could really do something in return for all you do for me.
You will, Walter, dear. You will, when the time comes.
Subject was 32 before she finally married the publisher, 6 months after his wife's death. Walter Bryant was 61. He lasted 8 more years, and on his death, his publications firm was rocked to its foundation.
I can't believe it. He's left everything to you, Lil. Lock, stock, and barrel.
That's right, Bert.
Total control. I mean, the voting stock, the management, the whole business to be run by you. Well, you don't intend to try to do it, do you?
You bet your bottom dollar I do.
But you can't. I mean, a woman, this is tough, brutal business. It takes a man to run it.
Oh, what's the matter, Bert? Jealous? Feel shut out?
Well, I had expected that. I mean, in many ways, Walter was like a father to me. I'd always understood that when...
No, you couldn't handle it, Bert. You haven't got the guts.
And you have?
Just watch me. You run along to your little magazine you play with, that happy misnomer action, and watch me take over the action here. I'll walk right over anyone who gets in my way.
Subject has lived up to her goals since then, trampling roughshod over employees, hiring and firing by whim ruthlessly. In her personal life, she's managed to destroy the longest and closest of her friends, the only man who really loved her for herself. She has completely alienated her daughter by trying to turn her into a carbon copy of herself. And last of all, she is directly responsible for the death of the girl her son loved, and has so thoroughly demolished him spiritually that he now hates the mother he loved as totally as his sister does. That's quite an indictment, Lucifer.
Yes, I'm quite proud of her, Michael. Lillian Bryant really managed to commit them all, wouldn't you say?
You mean a 7 deadly sins?
Exactly.
I'll tell you what I think, Lucifer. I think... Oh, just a moment. That's her son now. Let's listen to this.
Uncle Bert? Uncle Bert, I got here as fast as I could.
Oh, hello, Deke.
How is she? How's Mom?
Well, I don't know. They haven't come out yet.
Was she dead when you brought her here, do you think?
I can't hold out too much hope, Deke.
Oh.
She never moved after she collapsed in my arms.
Oh, please, no. Let me just say something to her. Tell her I didn't mean it. I didn't want to see her dead. I don't hate her, Uncle Bert. I love her. I want to
All right, easy, son. Easy now. Don't blame yourself. You mustn't blame yourself.
Well, it seems there is at least one person she hasn't completely alienated, Lucifer.
A feather in the wind. I'm going to take her now.
Not so fast. First of all, have you read my dossier?
I glanced through it. I wasn't impressed. No matter how you state it, the facts are still the same.
I wonder, before we make any rash moves, you'd better let me have my innings. Because in spite of your claim, I think the lady more properly belongs with us. And I think I can prove it.
Perhaps the Archangel Michael will prove his point. But in a practical sense, it won't really make that much difference to those Lillian Bryant leaves behind, because, of course, she'll still be dead. Or will she? I shall return shortly with Act 3.
Maxwell House is coffee you can count on. Maxwell House, good to the last drop. Maxwell House is...
Good morning.
Maxwell House is...
Good company.
Good to the last drop. Maxwell House.
Maxwell House, coffee you can count on. Always smells good, always tastes good, always good to the last drop.
Maxwell House is...
Good coffee.
Good to the last drop. Maxwell House.
You're walking through a deserted train station to a track that's marked not in service. You have a ticket in your hand, and the destination on it is a date in time. You're about to board the Time Express. Where are you going? Ask your host, Vincent Price.
You're on a return trip through time to relive a critical moment from your past. What would you do with a second chance?
Find out when you board the Time Express. New on CBS Television, Thursday night at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
York Heating and Air Conditioning helps you save money and energy now. Years of experience through every season, keeping you warm in winter, cool in summer, and comfortable in between.
Save now, Chicagoland. Your York dealer has a hot deal to keep you cool this summer. For a limited time only, get a big 25,000 BTU whole house air conditioning system for only $699 plus installation. It's York's Deluxe Champion E High Performance Unit, available now at the lowest price of the year. And free with your estimate, you get a 25-page booklet full of home energy-saving ideas. Call your York dealer, and be sure to see York's ad in Friday's Sports Week section of the Tribune and Monday's Suburban Trib.
York Heating and Air Conditioning helps you save money and energy now.
Your York dealer to call in Highland Park is Robinson Incorporated. In Hanover Park, call Mel's Heating. And in Lyons, call EEKK. This is WBBM Chicago.
It was Mae West who enlightened history with the apt remark, "It ain't no sin if you crack a few laws now and then, just so long as you don't break any." Would that apply in the case of a woman like Lillian Bryant? There's no question she was ruthless, success-oriented, opportunistic, driven, and in the moment of her death, almost totally alone. But had she no saving graces? Let's see if we can discover any now, as we listen to her attorney for the defense, the Archangel Michael.
Let's make a comparison of the dossiers that we carry on Mrs. Bryant.
If we keep it short and sweet, Michael, you religious types are always so long-winded.
Don't you want to see justice done?
I don't believe in justice. Just a word.
She's entitled to her day in court.
All right, then let's get on with it.
Well, first of all, let us consider the two human beings who are unwittingly sharing this hospital waiting room with us.
Sure. Bert's a sucker. And the son has a guilty conscience. You'll notice the daughter isn't here.
You won't admit that it might be love that brought these two men here.
After what she did to them, especially her son.
All right. Let's just examine that relationship a bit more closely. You must have read in the dossier I was given of the case. I believe it was page 32. There is a description of how the son, Deke Bryant, came to his mother one evening.
Who is it?
It's Deke, Mom.
Oh, come on in, darling. Oh, this is nice. Not out doing the town tonight?
I wanted to talk to you.
Oh, come in and sit by me.
Mom, did Dad, I don't mean my real father, I mean, Uncle Walt, did he, didn't he leave some sort of a trust fund for me?
Well, yes, dear. Walter was very generous. He left one for both you and Dee Dee. Very sizable, too. Give you both a good start in life.
Yeah. There isn't any chance I could get mine now, is there?
Now? Darling, it's in trust until you're through with school.
Well, is there any way I could, borrow against it?
Not without consent of the trustee.
Well, who's that?
It's me. I am. What is it you want this money for?
Well, Mom, I want to get married.
Married? At your age? Oh, you must be joking.
I'm not joking. I love Sissy, and we want to be together. And just for once, will you not interfere? Just leave it at that and help me.
I can't just leave it at that, Deke.
You never can you?
Oh, Deke, son, I'm only thinking of you. Married? I haven't even met the girl. Now, who is she? Sissy who?
Well, you wouldn't know her.
Well, I'd like to meet her. What's her full name?
Sissy Patterson.
Did you meet her at college?
No, it was here in town.
Well, who introduced you?
Mom, there isn't time for all this. I got to get married right away. I need the money right away.
I see. Deke, do you love this girl?
Yes, Mom, I do. And no matter what you say, even if I don't get the money from you, I'm going to marry her anyway. That's right, Michael. I read all that. Then she went right behind the kid's back.
She went to visit this girl, Lucifer.
After having a detective agency dig her address and check her out.
We won't argue about her methods, but this is what she found.
Yeah? Sissy Patterson? Yeah. I'm Deke Bryant's mother.
Oh, well, come on in, Mrs. Bryant. I'll turn down the music here. Oh, excuse the place. It's kind of a pigsty, huh? You see, I wasn't expecting no visitors.
I can see that.
Well, why don't you take a load off your feet? Come on, sit down.
No thanks, Miss Patterson. I don't think I'm going to be here that long. I'm not going to mince words. I've had you checked out thoroughly. I know who you are and what you are. You've been in reform school. You've been booked twice for soliciting. And for all you look like a high school girl, you're 5 years older than Deke. All right, what do you want to marry him for, Sissy?
I love the guy.
I doubt it. If it's money, I must tell you, it'll be 8 long years before he comes into any of his own. And I can tell you, if he marries you, he won't get 1 red cent from me.
Yeah? Well, he better. He just better come across.
Why?
Because he got me in a family way, that's why.
Oh, I see.
But it isn't only that. I really do go big for Deke, and I know he cares for me. He said you'd try to break us up, but I'm not going to let you, because I love him, you see? And I want to have his baby.
I don't believe you.
Well, you better.
How much?
Oh, I'm not after dough. I keep trying to tell you I love him.
Sissy, if you really love Deke, you'll see it can't work for you. He has a college education to complete, pre-med school, medical school, internship. He won't be ready for marriage for years.
And I suppose he won't be ready for a kid either. So what am I supposed to do? Get rid of it?
I wouldn't ask any woman to do that. That's a question that's up to you. If there really is a child, I'll even take that on trust to save argument. I'm prepared to settle enough on you to make it worth your while to leave my son alone. Now, I have a certified check here for $100,000. If you accept it, I never want you to see Deke again. I'll show him the canceled check. Don't make me do that. I don't want to hurt him that much.
Am I boring you, Lucifer?
You're just not scoring any points, Michael. The money didn't mean anything to her. She still interfered and broke her son's heart. And she drove that girl to suicide.
You don't believe it was a mother's duty to keep these two apart?
Anyone who tried to stand up against her, she squashed. Anything she wanted, she got. More power to her. Look at how she went after the old goat Bryant.
I'm not so sure that her relationship with Mr. Bryant was quite that cold and opportunistic. Let's turn back the calendar and have a look.
I wish you'd consider my proposition. No, I don't like that word, Lillian. My offer, or what it really is, my plea to you.
I don't see how I can, Mr. Bryant.
Walter?
All right, Walter. It isn't only me. I have the children to think of.
I can't marry you, Lillian. Phyllis is an invalid. She's dying. I couldn't ask her for a divorce. As soon as I'm free, I promise to make you my wife.
That might be a long time.
That's why I want, selfishly, to have you now, while I can enjoy you and appreciate you. I'll get you an apartment, a house, whatever you want. We could be together, almost as if we were man and wife.
Almost.
I'd set up trusts for the children, pay for their schooling, see them through college.
What about your own children?
Oh, it's a long time since they were children. They're all successful in their own right.
And the business?
You drive a hard bargain, Lillian. I think it'll be safe enough in your hands. I'll teach you all I know.
Walter, dear, I want to be honest. I'm not in love with you.
I know that, darling.
But if we should enter into an agreement like this, I promise I will try never to make you feel that I'm not.
Friend Michael, don't be a poor loser.
The loser would not be me, but Mrs.
What is it?
Shh. We have some more company. Her daughter.
Oh, I didn't see you there, Dee Dee.
Oh, I just came in. Hi, Deke. Uncle Bert.
I'm glad you came, Dee.
I was afraid you wouldn't come.
I made it as fast as I could. How's Mom?
We don't know. There's no word.
Oh, Deke, I have a message for you.
Oh, what?
Well, the nice cop, you know, the one with the mustache let you ring me when you were busted?
Oh, yeah, Sam Drayton. Yeah, super guy.
Yeah, well, he called me just as I was leaving. He thought it was your number.
Well, what did he want?
Well, I guess he saw you or something after Sissy died.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They had to question everyone that knew her.
Oh, well, I guess that's how come he knew so much about you and her. So he said to tell you it wasn't Sissy. I mean, she didn't jump or anything. She was pushed.
Well, how do they know?
Well, they got the guy that did it. He was trying to cash a bank check that Mom must have given her.
Well, who was he?
I guess I've got to tell you, Deke. He was her husband. She not only took you, but I guess Mom, too.
That sort of settles it, doesn't it, Lucifer?
You mean you're going to press your claim to her?
That's right.
Oh, don't think I'm giving up mine, Michael.
Well, then where does that leave us? We can scarcely cut her in half like Solomon's baby. I don't think that would satisfy anyone.
I guess there's only one way out.
Which is?
We'll have to toss for it. I have a coin here.
Oh, no. If it is to be that, we'll stick to one minted in heaven.
Can you be trusted?
You ready?
Hmm.
All right. You call.
Okay, but remember, no lousy miracles.
Dear God, help me. Please. Give me one more chance. I will try to make up to my children. And Bert, I don't want to die with all my sins. I am so afraid and alone.
My lord, I ask you humbly to extend thy mercy to Lillian. Don't let her go alone into the dark night, not knowing that in spite of everything, we who are left behind love her and want her with us. Help her to find her way back to our hearts and to our lives, so that we can help her.
Dear God, I haven't prayed to you in so long. Please, forgive me. But now I must. I can't let Mom die without knowing that what I know in this moment, that I still love her. How can we be so wrong about things?
I'm so ashamed.
The older I get,
Don't let my mother die thinking I hate her.
so much.
I know now more than ever I love her and would give anything to be able to ask her to forgive me.
Well, toss the coin. What are you listening to?
Voices. The sound of love. No, we toss no coins for a human life.
Well, if you don't, we're back with the same old problem. Which of us gets her?
Neither. There is another solution.
What?
He gives it also in return.
Oh, I knew you'd ring in a miracle. You cheated me.
Not quite. The second chance doesn't mean that she won't end up in your clutches eventually. It's up to her.
I'll lay you odds I do get her.
Somehow I doubt it.
You want to put your money where your mouth is?
I don't think so. There's something not quite right about an angel gambling.
You always have to figure on a sure thing, don't you?
What does it matter? So long as justice is done.
What is justice? Could a woman like Lillian Bryant return and change her personality? Once the shadow of death passed over, in the bright light of day, could her children bridge the generation gap that had split them away from her? Who knows? All one can know is this, that justice is so subtle a thing that to interpret it, all one needs is a heart. I'll be back shortly.
I changed laxatives. Nidalax tablets are different than the leading brands.
Laxative users are switching to Nidalax, the predictable nighttime laxative.
I take Nidalax before bed. Like most people, I normally get an uninterrupted sleep and the results I want in the morning.
For most people like me, Nidalax usually doesn't cause cramps at night or diarrhea in the morning.
Try Nidalax, the nighttime laxative worth switching to. Use only as directed when needed.
Take your contact, take it now. Give your code to contact.
I'm going to change your mind about nighttime cold medicine. You see, of all major medicines, only one works up to 12 hours against the cloggy virus symptoms that keep you awake. Only Contact. One capsule's relief stays with you all through a long night's sleep, no matter what cold virus attack. Only Contact.
Give your code to contact.
Take only as directed.
I wonder if in that moment as we cross the great divide, how many of us can stand the test of judgment? Run down the list of those 7 deadly sins and ask yourself how many of them you can honestly say you have never succumbed to. Then balance the scales by remembering that bright angel who was just and merciful, and trust him in the end, in the fullness of love, to tip the scales your way. Our cast included Ann Williams, Mandel Kramer, Russell Horton, and Bryna Rayburn. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, preview of our next tale.
Many years ago, your firm represented my father in a legal action, or so I thought.
Oh, yes, I understand. My dear doctor, Peabody and Freeman is a very large firm, and we have many clients. And I only joined the firm 2 years ago, so I'm afraid your father's connection with us had no bearing on my seeing you quickly.
No. Well, it doesn't matter. Frankly, Mr. Faraday, I'm having a difficult time getting established in my profession. I don't know, perhaps I've chosen the wrong location. Or at any rate, any spare money I might earn would be welcome.
Have you ever been exposed to danger?
Physical danger? No, I have not.
Do you think you would be cool and collected at such a time?
I hope so.
I believe you would. My impression is, so far as personalities go, you may be the very man we are looking for.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Tonight's weather in Chicago, cloudy with a chance of showers toward morning, low in the upper 30s. Tomorrow's high around 50 to 60, more showers likely. Wednesday night cooling off, good chance of snow flurries and a low of 40. And on Thursday, mostly cloudy and colder with light showers or snow flurries and a high in the mid-40s. At Midway Airport now, it's 42 degrees, 38 at O'Hare Field, 39 at the lakefront, wind northeast 9 miles an hour, humidity 58%.
Come on and he's on down the road. Come on, he's on down the road.
Don't you carry nothing that might be a load. Come on, he's on down the road. Pick your right foot up when your left one's down. Come on, legs, keep moving. Don't you lose no ground.
He's on down the road to The Wiz, America's hit musical version of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. It's wowing him in New York. It was sold out in L.A. It was sold out in San Francisco. Now, don't you miss the fun, the fantasy, the fun of The Wiz. Live on stage at the Schubert Theater in downtown Chicago. The Wiz is a wow.
He's on down the road.
Good seats today at Schubert Box Office and Ticketron outlets.
News Radio 78, WBBM, Chicago.
Winter is the worst time of the year for carpets. They suffer from wet, dirty feet. Until recently, only professional rug cleaners could get that carpet really clean. But now, True Value hardware stores can help you do it yourself. They offer you the Rinse and Back carpet cleaning system. Rent it for just a few dollars a day from True Value hardware stores and give your carpeting professional quality cleaning at a fraction of the price a professional would charge. It's as easy to operate as a vacuum cleaner. Rinse and Back cleans and rinses carpets, then vacuums up the dirt with just one sweep of the cleaning wand. The transparent dome lets you actually see all the dirt it removes, and it leaves no dirt-attracting residue, so the carpeting will stay cleaner longer. This winter, rent the Rinse and Back for your carpets at participating True Value hardware stores.
True Value hardware is more than just a name. It's a way of doing business that means True Value.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. We turn this time to a classic melodrama, an incredible chiller. I say incredible because it was written by a 19th century lady who seldom left her house. I speak, of course, of Charlotte Bronte, most famous of the three literary sisters whose strange brother, Patrick Branwell, was the prototype for some of the men in their novels. The day of the governess is past, but she was quite a fixture in the days when opulent mansions housed the wealthy, with a housekeeper and staff of servants who sometimes shared dark secrets.
What's the matter with you this morning, Miss Jane? You look peaked.
Another one of those terrible nightmares, Mrs. Fairfax.
Such things are omens. My dead husband has been rising from his grave to tell me no good will come to this house.
This house is the happiest home I have ever known.
Then why do you dream of death and destruction?
It must have been the storm. The moors were wild with thunder and lightning.
I'm begging you, Miss Jane. Get away from here. Leave Mr. Rochester and Thornfield Hall alone before it's too late.
Our mystery drama Jane Eyre has been adapted from the Charlotte Bronte classic especially for the Mystery Theater by Elizabeth Pennell and stars Patricia Elliott and Arnold Moss. It is sponsored in part by Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
The standard engine is a V8. Standard tires, steel-belted radials. There are front and rear stabilizer bars, special springs and shock valving, fast ratio power steering, and a rally steering wheel. What makes all this interesting is that it belongs to a full-size 6-passenger Buick, the 1977 LeSabre Sport Coupe. You'll have to drive it to believe it.
Just about everyone.
Beware the lean and hungry look. Hello, this is Victor Borge. You know, Shakespeare sure didn't know about heart health. If you have that lean look, your heart may be more healthy than if you are fat and jolly. If your lean look comes from eating low-fat foods and regular exercise. So, keep up the good work and tell your fat friends to reduce the heart-healthy way by contacting your local American Heart Association. They're fighting for your life.
Here's news about a unique checking account that's better than free. With Exchange Bank's Tax Saver Checking, there's no minimum balance and no monthly service charge, so it saves you money every month. But even more important, Tax Saver Checking can help save you money on next year's income tax. It helps you remember and get every itemized deduction you have coming. And Tax Saver Checking saves you time, too. A free Tax Saver file box keeps your tax-deductible checks and receipts organized. So at tax time, everything's ready for you or your tax consultant. Open your Tax Saver Checking account now. Remember, there's no minimum balance and no monthly service charge. Tax Saver Checking. It's better than free because it saves you money every month and can help you save money on your income tax, too. Write, phone, or visit Exchange National Bank of Chicago, LaSalle at Adams. Member, FDIC.
Now to meet our Victorian heroine. Jane Eyre has been hired as a teacher with one pupil in a mansion which dominates a remote English countryside, a setting much like that where the Bronte sisters lived and dreamed of adventure. As we begin, Jane has volunteered to post a letter for the housekeeper. The nearest village is 2 miles away, but she welcomes the opportunity to walk by herself across the moor. It is a January afternoon, and the ground is hard, the air still, and the road lonely. At the top of a hill, Jane pauses to enjoy the view. And suddenly, she is not alone.
First the dog, and then a man on horseback, galloping furiously. I had not noticed the icy patch on the road, nor had the rider, until too late. With a slithering crash, horse and rider went down.
Oh, what the deuce?
Are you injured, sir?
I'm not sure.
Let me help you.
Stand to one side.
But you're hurt. I'll go for help.
No. I don't seem to have any broken bones, only this confounded ankle.
You can't stay here on this lonely road if you're unable to mount your horse.
Where do you come from?
Just below.
That house with the battlements?
Yes, sir.
Well, whose house is it?
Mr. Rochester's.
Do you know Mr. Rochester?
I have never seen him.
Well, who the devil are you?
I am the governess.
I see. Well, if you're not afraid, grab hold of my horse's bridle. Lead him over here to me.
I know little of horses.
Now, come here.
Let me lean on you. That will do. Now hand me my whip. Thank you. Come along, pilots.
He rode off, and I continued down the road to the village by myself, wondering about this gruff stranger. For me, it had been quite an adventure, so I took my time getting back to the house. When I reached it, the housekeeper was in the entranceway.
Pilot, hush up.
Mrs. Fairfax, that dog.
Yes, he came with his master.
With whom?
Mr. Rochester. He arrived shortly after you went to post the letter.
That couldn't have been...
Mr. Rochester has had an accident. His horse fell, and his ankle is sprained.
Did he ask about me?
Miss Eyre, I have not yet had a chance to tell him about you. The surgeon has been sent for.
Next day, I was summoned by Mrs. Fairfax to be presented to the master of the house. He was unmistakably the same dour personage I had already encountered.
Sit down, Miss Eyre. I've examined Adele and find you've taken great pains with her.
She is a pleasant child.
I understand you've lived in my house for the past 3 months. And you came from...
From Lowood School.
Ah, yes. A charitable institution and a grim one, from all I've heard. How long were you there?
8 years.
You must have a sturdy constitution.
I welcomed the opportunity to get away.
No doubt. Who are your parents?
I have none.
Or ever had, I suppose?
I don't remember them. I was left as an orphan with an aunt who hated me. The Lowood School was a joy compared to her house.
Any other relatives?
I've heard of an uncle on my father's side, but I doubt if he knows I exist. He lives in Madeira.
Who recommended that you come here?
I advertised, and Mrs. Fairfax answered my advertisement.
You have no friends, I presume?
None but the pupils and teachers of Lowood. And now, those of you at Thornfield.
Mm-hmm. You've lived the life of a nun. But I must say it has not broken your spirit. How old are you?
18.
Old enough for some accomplishments. I saw some sketches in the schoolroom. Are there others?
I have a portfolio.
Send it to my room. And now I'm tired. You may go.
It's true that I do not frighten easily, and I was content as the days went by to be left with my pupil or to wander alone through that enormous house. One day, I climbed through a trapdoor onto the roof. Oh, a fine place for sketching. As I started down the 3rd floor staircase, this dreadful sound sent me running. Mrs. Fairfax! Mrs. Fairfax!
Yes, my dear.
I didn't know there was anyone upstairs.
Why, there's not. That wing of the house is quite empty.
But I heard someone laughing. Oh, such a terrible laugh.
Oh, that. It must be Grace Poole.
Grace Poole?
One of the servants. She acts quite unbalanced at times. But where have you been? Mr. Rochester wants to see you.
I found him seated by the fire, and as the light played over his stern features, his dark eyes had a softness out of keeping with his manner. He caught me off guard.
You examine me, Miss Eyre. Do you think me handsome?
No, sir.
What fault do you find with me?
Mr. Rochester, I shouldn't have answered that way.
Don't criticize me. Go ahead. Does my forehead not please you? Do you think I'm a fool?
Far from it.
Well, you look puzzled, and a puzzled air keeps those searching eyes from studying my face. I'm feeling gregarious and communicative tonight. Talk to me.
I have nothing to say.
Well, then I'll make you say something. From your point of view, I'm sure I'd be judged a sinner.
I do not make judgments.
Oh, you would if you knew how I've wasted all my years.
Why do you regret the past when there's a future to look forward to?
I look forward to nothing but misery.
But you have Adele and...
Indeed. I rue the day I became encumbered with that brat.
Well, then why did you make her your ward?
I'm a victim of circumstance. Children annoy me. But I told you I feel talkative. Wouldn't you like to know something about Adele?
If you wish to tell me. The child has no more memory of her parents than I do of mine.
My mother was a dancer. I found her in Paris, a glorious creature with whom I fell madly in love. She played me for a fool from the beginning, taking my money, giving a heart to a handsome devil of an army officer by whom she had a child, and claimed the child was mine. Well, does that shock you, Miss Eyre?
No. But if the child was not yours, why do you feel responsible?
Because the infant was abandoned.
Which proves that you are a man of compassion.
Perhaps. But I have no feeling for that girl. The less I see of her, the better. And if you don't like my attitude, you're not compelled to stay here.
Oh, now you have shocked me. Adele is a lonely little orphan, forsaken by her mother and disowned by you. Already she leans on me as a friend, and I will do my best to comfort her. I stayed out of his way after that, hoping he would soon be leaving. Then one night, I was awakened. That terrible sound again, followed by a moan which came from just outside my door. With shaking hands, I put on my robe, opened the bedroom door, and... Who's there? Who is there? In the far distance, someone was climbing the stairs. And very faintly, a door closed. At my feet, on the matting of the floor, a candle burned in a low candlestick. I picked it up and walked along the corridor, drawn by the strong smell of smoke. A door, usually closed tight, was ajar. Mr. Rochester's bedroom, and the smoke was coming from there, billowing out and getting thicker. Mr. Rochester, wake up! The draperies at the head of his bed were on fire. I grabbed a pitcher from the washstand and...
What the devil?
A fire, sir. Get up quickly.
In the name of all the elves in Christendom, is that Jane Eyre? What have you done with me?
Your bed was on fire.
What brought you to my bedroom?
There was someone in the hallway. Someone who cried out and then went upstairs.
I see. You said you saw no one but heard a cry.
Yes, I thought it must be that Grace Poole.
Exactly so. The unfortunate woman has nightmares.
I was relieved to learn next day that Mr. Rochester had taken off on one of his journeys. But when he returned, I saw quite a different side of his complex personality.
Oh, Miss Jane, it's nice to have music and laughter in the house.
I thought I heard singing last night. There are ladies staying here.
Mr. Rochester has brought several guests. There's Mr. Mason, Mrs. Eshton and her daughters, and I wish you could catch a glimpse of Lady Blanche Ingram.
What is she like?
A great beauty. What a fine couple they make. I'm hoping that what I've heard may be true.
And what is that?
That they will be married. Oh, Lady Blanche is years younger than Mr. Rochester, but so gay and charming. I tell you, life will be very different at Thornfield Hall.
What has come over me? As I lay in bed, my heart is filled with a great longing. Severely, I say to myself, tomorrow, Jane Eyre, look in the mirror and draw your own picture faithfully, without softening one defect. Omit no harsh line, and write under it, portrait of a governess, disconnected, poor, and plain. In due course, I was introduced to the ladies who ignored me and Adele so completely that it was easy to stay out of their way. Then one night, as I sat alone in my room, there was such a commotion that I opened the door.
Mr. Mason needs help!
Rochester, for heaven's sake, come back to your rooms, all of you. Except for you, Jane Eyre.
What's happened?
I need you. Come this way, take my hand. It's dark going up the stairs.
But, Mr. Rochester...
I trust you don't turn sick at the sight of blood.
I hope not, although I've never been tested.
Steady now. Through this doorway.
Could this must be the disturbing Grace Poole at last. But I caught only the sight of a receding form, a woman in a gray sweater and long black dress. Our attention was focused on the bed, where the guest, Mr. Mason, lay with blood streaming from a gash on his head.
Quickly, Jane, hold that basin while I sponge his wounds.
She's a fiend incarnate. I won't live through the night.
Nonsense, man, nonsense. You've nothing but scratches.
She stabbed me. Barely missed my jugular vein. I'm bleeding to death.
Courage, Richard. You'll survive.
But my arm, she sank her teeth into it.
We'll get the doctor as soon as we can. Just be calm.
Calm? She sucked my blood and said she would drain my heart.
Surely after this murderous attack, Grace Poole would be removed from the household. But weeks later, I saw the retreating form of the woman in gray and black starting up the attic stairs, only while she was still on the stairway, from overhead, I heard...
How's that for a chilling turn of events? The upper floors of Thornfield Hall appear to be occupied by demons, not the least of which is the murderous Grace Poole. Why would such a servant be left to roam the corridors? And what brings on a laugh which now seems to be disembodied? I assure you that more harrowing developments lie ahead. I'll be back shortly with Act 2.
Here in my hand is a little capsule. It's Contact. It contains enough cold medicine to help relieve cold symptoms caused by every known virus. Think about that the next time you're sick. Sneezing, dripping, all clogged up. Then let us help you with real medicine, like Contact. We're #1 in the whole world.
Give your cold to Contact. Real medicine for real cold.
Take only as directed.
You dirty rat. You dirty rat.
Nobody does Cagney like Cagney. And now James Cagney tells his whole story in Cagney by Cagney. The gangster roles.
All right, you guys.
The song and dance parts.
Yankee Doodle went to town.
The stars.
Here's looking at you, kid.
They're all here in Cagney by Cagney. A tough, touching, witty, wisecracking autobiography. The inside dope on the street kid who grew up to be a star. Now in pocketbooks. Cagney by Cagney.
Get it wherever paperbacks are sold.
If a new car is looking real nice, but you're worried about the price, Dodge knows how to give you a nudge. Yeah, Dodge is talking your language.
Talking price about a new car, but those other guys aren't even talking in your price league? See your Chicagoland Dodge dealer. He's talking your language with the unbelievable Dodge Aspen. It's priced $373 less than Mercury Monarch, $302 less than Ford Granada. Based on sticker prices for comparably equipped two-door models, Aspen's hundreds of dollars less. So if our new Aspen's looking real nice, but you're worried about the price, your Chicagoland Dodge dealer knows how to give you a nudge.
Dodge is talking your language. Dodge is talking your
One of the Chicagoland Dodge dealers is Aurora Dodge, 1282 Lake Street in Aurora.
Dodge is
The unfortunate Mr. Mason apparently made a quick recovery. In any event, the guests all departed as suddenly as they had come. And so did Mr. Rochester. I don't think I'd like to spend a night at Thornfield Hall, much less be confined there without knowing what was going on. But Jane Eyre was used to being rebuffed when she asked questions. And in spite of her strange environment, she had never enjoyed such a life of ease. Her pupil, though not especially bright, was eager to learn. And Jane spent the rest of the time with her sketch pad and books in the library.
Mr. Rochester has come home, Miss Jane. Oh, and it's all working out just the way I hoped it would. He is planning to marry.
Will they be living here?
Well, he can answer that himself. He's asked to see you out in the garden.
Thornfield is a pleasant place in summer, isn't it, Jane?
Oh, yes, sir.
You've made yourself quite at home here. I assume you're somewhat attached to this house.
Indeed. I am.
And although I can't understand why you seem to have acquired a certain regard for that foolish child Adele and even for simple Dame Fairfax.
In different ways, I have affection for them both.
And you would be sorry to part with them?
Yes.
Pity. But that's the way it is. The time always comes when one must move on.
But, sir, I'm very happy here.
Yeah, well, that's the extraordinary thing. It'll make parting more difficult.
You mean I must leave Thornfield?
I'm sorry, but you're dismissed as of tonight.
Is it because you are going to be married?
Exactly so.
Soon, sir?
Very soon.
But what about Adele?
I'll send her away to school, and you must get a new situation.
I will advertise immediately. But in the meantime, may I stay on until I have somewhere else to go?
I hope to be a bridegroom in about a month. But I'll find employment for you. In fact, my would-be mother-in-law has already heard of a place where they need a governess in Ireland.
That's a long way off, sir.
From what?
From England and from Thornfield and...
Well?
From you, sir.
It's very interesting that you should say that, Jane. Because when we're alone as we are now, and I'm close to you, I have a queer feeling that I would miss you very much if you should go away.
You will forget me very quickly.
You spoke to me once of the future. What do you look forward to?
Oh, I suppose in my hopeless dreams, I fancy myself as a mistress of my own school for girls.
Oh, Jane. Behind that prim facade, you're fire and ice. You mustn't...
Please, don't talk that way, sir. I wish you happiness in the course you have taken for your future.
What course?
Why, with the beautiful Miss Ingram, your bride.
I have no bride.
But you will have.
Oh, yes, I will. And she is standing now right beside me.
Mr. Rochester, please, let me go.
I am offering you my hand, my heart, and a share of all my possessions.
You are making a fool of me. And my only answer is to laugh in your face.
I ask you to pass through life at my side, to be my second self and best companion.
You have already made your choice, and I can take no more cruelty.
Jane, I have no feeling for the beautiful Blanche no more than she has for me. Our affair is over. I came back to Thornfield to entreat you to accept me as a husband.
If your feelings for me are real, I will be grateful and devoted.
Grateful? Say it quickly. Say you'll marry me.
Mr. Rochester, if you are sincere...
Edward. My name is Edward. If you need an oath, I swear that I love you.
Then, sir, I will marry you.
That's not the way to accept my offer.
Dear Edward. Everything had changed. I was no longer plain Jane Eyre. Of course, I had known from the first moment that Edward Rochester was a man above all others. But in my wildest dreams, I had never dared hope I could be the object of that affectionate heart he tries so hard to keep buried. I still felt insignificant and blushed when he offered to buy me a trousseau and talked about jewels.
And a diamond necklace for my lady?
Oh, no, sir, please, I can't accept.
But you're soon to be Jane Rochester, and that calls for finery for my beauty.
Oh, please, Mr. Rochester.
Who?
Edward, don't call me things I am not. I am your plain, Quakerish governess.
You have beauty after my own heart, delicate, ethereal.
Oh, puny and insignificant, you mean. You are dreaming, or else... Oh, for pity's sake, don't sneer at me.
I will dress my Jane in satin and lace. And for her wedding, her head shall be covered with a priceless veil.
I was in a world of utter bliss until what you and Mr. Rochester are about to do is wrong. We love one another. He is old enough to be your father. He's nothing like a father. And he looked so young.
You know nothing of men. And no good can come from a union with a gentleman of his station and a lowly governess.
I thought, Mrs. Fairfax, that you and I were friends.
Miss Jane, you must leave Thornfield Hall before it's too late.
But my Edward was more loving than ever, and I could put up with anything until...
Dearest Jane, last night you were so radiant. Now, what's happened on your wedding day to make you look so pale?
Last night, the most terrible nightmare of them all.
My dearest Jane, you're nervous, that's natural. But soon your mind will be at ease.
Only this time it was more than a nightmare. Something happened.
Well, then tell me about it, although that little head of yours is apt to conjure up all sorts of things.
But this was real. I knew that my door had opened, and a woman was standing in my bedroom. She held a candle and examined my wedding dress.
Well, it must have been that stupid Mrs. Fairfax.
No, not Mrs. Fairfax. A large woman with thick hair hanging down her back, in a white gown, or a sheet that looked like a shroud.
Did you see her face?
Not at first. Then she moved stealthily toward me, and the candlelight caught her features. Oh, hideous, savage, like a vampire. And as she leaned over me, I would have screamed in terror, except no sound would come. She blew out the flame and glided from the room.
A most unsettling dream. But after tonight, Jane, you'll have no more, I assure you.
But that's not all, sir.
Well, surely you didn't attempt to go after her.
I was so frightened, I believe I fainted. But when I woke, it was light. And oh, Mr. Rochester, my beautiful veil. It had been torn to shreds.
My poor Jane.
Oh, you see, sir, it wasn't a dream.
No, I suspect the vindictive Grace Poole.
Mrs. Fairfax would say it is an omen.
You and I, Jane, know how to dispense with omens. And soon we will be far away from here. I'll take you to Spain. We'll tour the world. Come, my dear. This is the happiest day of our lives.
If either of you know any impediment why ye may not lawfully be joined together in matrimony, ye do now confess it.
Stop this mockery of a wedding!
Mason, how dare you?
I might say the same to you, sir.
Go on with the ceremony.
It cannot take place.
Pay no attention to this intruder. Go on, I say.
Let Mr. Mason speak.
This marriage is unlawful. It must not be consummated.
But why, Mr. Mason?
Because Mr. Rochester is already married. He has a wife.
Miss Jane, I warned you. I was trying to keep you from...
You should have told the girl.
Leave my innocent Jane out of this.
How can I?
Mason, I should knock your block off.
You won't touch me, and you know it. I'm convinced the girl knows nothing, and I've already been in touch with her uncle.
What do you know of my uncle?
I made inquiries through my solicitor, and I've seen your uncle in Madeira.
You've seen him? But then why hasn't he written to me?
He's very ill. But thank heaven he sent me back here in time to stop the wedding.
Mr. Mason, at the chapel you accused Mr. Rochester of being...
He was prepared to become a bigamist.
He's right, Miss Jane.
Oh, please, I don't understand.
I thought she might be dead. But I found out last April that she was alive, all right.
Who, Mr. Mason?
My sister Bertha, Mr. Rochester's wife.
No, this can't be.
It's true, Jane. If you can call such perversity the truth.
But, Mr. Rochester, you cannot be married.
Bertha Mason is mad, and she came of a mad family.
There may be something in what you say. Yet the law decrees that an incompetent wife must be protected.
The law? For 15 years, I've done my duty. And for 12 years, she's been no wife to me.
Yet the bonds of marriage are sacred.
I would move heaven and earth to keep my treasured Jane from learning how low one can sink in deprivation. But now her eyes must be opened.
Mr. Rochester...
Lead the way, Mrs. Fairfax. Miss Jane must see for herself what has for so long been hidden on the 3rd floor of Thornfield Hall.
Grace Poole, unlock the door.
Go in first, Mason. Sometimes she responds to you.
What if she responds the way she did last time?
Go on, you coward. She's with her nurse.
Watch her, Grace. She's not to be trusted. Oh, it is. That's the woman who came to my room last night. Or can she be a human creature? Careful, miss. She sees you. Wait until Mrs. Poole has her cornered. She is so cunning.
We'd better leave. I know how dangerous she can be.
And that, Jane Eyre, is what they call my wife.
Now we know the secret of that ghostly third floor of Thornfield Hall. Picture, if you will, the scene Jane Eyre was forced to witness. The door was unlocked by the stolid Grace Poole, a somber matron in gray and black. But behind her, groveling on all fours, a wild creature with long hair hanging over her face, like some fearful beast of the jungle. We will mercifully close the door before continuing presently with Act 3.
The 1977 Buick Regal. It comes with Buick's terrific V6 engine. It carries 6 people and lots of Buick comfort. It's lean, it's maneuverable in city traffic. It's the most luxurious mid-sized car Buick builds. Yeah, this new Regal is pretty much everything a car should be, except for one thing. It isn't yours yet, but it can be. Just see your Buick dealer for a test drive soon.
Just about everyone.
55? Man, you gotta be kidding. My car won't run right at 55, and I get better mileage when I go faster. Come on, you're gonna have a better reason than that.
All right, in the first full year, the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit law was on the books. 9,154 fewer people died on the highways than in the last year at higher speeds.
9,154 people didn't die?
This station, the U.S. Department of Transportation, and the Advertising Council remind you to drive 55. It's a law we can live with.
WBBM Chicago.
They said the streets were paved with gold. So they came to America by the millions. The Toyotas and Fiats, the Datsuns and Triumphs, the MGs and Renaults. But sometimes the road is rough. And when their mufflers go, they find that the doors to most repair shops are closed to them because they're foreign.
Yeah, we sell mufflers, but we don't sell your kind.
Funny little car. Where does your muffler go, in the glove compartment?
So to the foreign cars who came here seeking a better life, we at Midas Muffler have good news. Midas now gives foreign aid. Midas now installs mufflers on most foreign cars, and we do it with the same care and expertise you'd expect from a company that's been installing mufflers in America for 20 years. At Midas, we're specialists. We have to do a better job.
Buy a Midas muffler and cap set for $4.95, and Midas will donate $1 to Easter Seals. You will feel warm all over helping Easter Seals.
After the devastating events on what was to have been her wedding day, Jane Eyre said not a word, but went directly to her room. Mr. Mason made a sudden departure, and Mrs. Fairfax went about her duties as though nothing had happened. No one came to comfort the heartbroken Jane. And Rochester, he sat on a chair outside Jane's door while the hours passed in deathly silence.
I've been waiting here since yesterday.
And what, may I ask, are you waiting for?
For your tears. Grief and anger cannot be bottled up without destroying the soul.
I am way beyond tears.
And so am I, my dear. Remorse is the poison of life. Berate me. Tell me what you think of me now.
I feel nothing but sorrow for you and that creature up there.
But you have not heard my story. Nothing has been real in my life until I met you.
And now you would make me the victim.
No, never, Jane, never. This time there was to be a future for both of us.
How can you say that when you...
When I was in my 20s, my father sent me to Jamaica. His business was not going well. And he and my brother made a deal with importers named Mason.
A deal for you to marry?
Well, I didn't know that was part of the contract. No one told me that 30,000 pounds was paid for their daughter to marry an Englishman.
But you saw her. You must...
All I saw was an untamed island girl who charmed me with her caresses.
How could you?
She was a handsome woman then, Jane. Now, how was I to know that if it were not for me, she would be sent to the asylum where her mother was, or locked up in prison for some of these things that she had done?
But you lived with her.
Yes, I spent 4 years of hell trying to get medical help, but our case was hopeless. And when my brother and father died, I was left with Thornfield Hall and no one outside this house, except the doctor and Richard Mason, knew of her existence.
And that's why you're seldom here.
I cannot stand the solitude. Nothing has had any meaning, nothing, until you came, Jane.
And now I must leave you.
No, you can't. I'll take you anywhere you want to go. Do anything you say.
Then let me go in peace. I left Thornfield Hall in the dark of night, and can scarce remember how I stumbled over the moor until I reached the village. It was almost dawn when I found a sleepy man with a carriage. I showed him what money I had and asked him to take me as far as it would go. He put me off at Whitcross.
You want a room at this hour of the morning?
No, I'm looking for employment.
No one needed here.
Do you know any place in the neighborhood where a servant is needed?
I can't say, but I doubt it.
What do most people do in this place?
Some are farm laborers. Some work at the needle factory and the foundry.
Do they employ women?
Nay, it's men's work.
But then what do the women do?
We're poor folk, Mum. And poor folk get along as best they can.
Where can I get some food?
Well, bed and board right on the premises if you can pay the price.
But I can't.
Well, then it's off with you.
But where can I go?
There's the Reverend Rivers out at Moorhouse.
How do I get there?
Take the road going that way, but it's a long walk.
The walk was endless, and a storm had come up. I pulled my thin coat around me. I was soaked to the skin. At last, a prison-like structure rose through the mist, and before I could reach the knocker, I collapsed on the doorstep.
Well, young lady, you finally come around.
This is Moorhouse?
Yes, and I'm St. John Rivers. And now you must tell me your name and how I can get in touch with your family.
My name is Jane Eyre, but I have no family.
No relatives at all?
An uncle. If you will give me pen and paper, I will write to him.
Where does he live?
In Madeira.
Oh, that's far away. Give me the name of someone nearby who can come and fetch you.
There's no one. Please, Mr. Rivers, you must help me. Although my heart was heavy, good fortune came my way.
Miss Eyre, you've been of such help at the mission. I don't know how we could have got along without you these past months.
And I'm happy to tell you, sir, that I now have a way to repay your kindness.
Oh, it's been repaid many times over.
No, I've heard from my uncle's executor. I'm soon to inherit what seems to be a vast sum of money.
Well, I'm happy for you, although I hope this does not mean that you'll be leaving us.
I want to share my inheritance with the mission. And then, what I've always wanted, my own girls' school. For the first time in my life, I could make a choice, free to do what I wanted. But more than ever, I was troubled by my dreams. This time of a stern face with tender eyes, a rough yet gentle man who haunted my days and nights. His voice became more insistent. I heard it everywhere. Edward Rochester needed me, and no matter what the consequences, I must return to Thornfield Hall.
May I help you?
Do you know Thornfield Hall?
Oh, yes, I live there.
Did you?
Oh, I was the late Mr. Rochester's butler.
The late? Is he dead?
Oh, I mean the present gentleman's, Mr. Edward's father.
Is Mr. Edward Rochester staying now at Thornfield Hall?
Oh, no, Mum. How could he be? The place is a total ruin.
Well, where is he then? I must see him.
Well, you're a stranger here. You don't know what's happened.
Tell me, please.
Well, you see, when old Mr. Rochester died, I was sent to work at Ferndale. And I was only called back to the hall after some curious events had taken place.
Go on.
Well, there was this little snip of a governess who started the whole thing.
What are you talking about?
Well, she deserted Mr. Rochester, you see, when he needed her most. Poor, lonely man that he was. When Mr. Rochester's ward was sent off to school and Mrs. Fairfax went to live with her sister, I was called back to look after Mr. Rochester.
Please, man, where is Mr. Rochester?
I like to tell things the way they should be told, straight through from beginning to end. Except for those two on the third floor there. Well, there was just me and Mr. Rochester in that big house, and it was the middle of the night.
I won't need anything more, John. Why don't you go to bed?
I should think you do the same, sir. But if you're going to stay here, let me build up the fire.
No, I'd rather stare into the coals. I'll go to bed when I feel that sleep will come.
Oh, I could fix you a hot drink.
No, nothing, thank you.
Oh, good night then, sir.
What's the matter with you? Are you catching cold?
No. It's Mr. Rochester. There's smoke pouring down from the upper story.
We'll close the door. We'll break the window and take the outside stairway to the second floor.
The left wing of the house is on fire.
Where is Grace Poole?
Fast asleep, I imagine. Sometimes she takes a drop too much.
That's what I'm afraid of. And when Bertha gets loose, anything can happen.
Look, sir. Up there in the roof. Mrs. Rochester.
Good Lord. Bertha! Bertha!
Oh, she'll be consumed by the flames.
Let's get to her.
Oh, you can't, sir. Pitiful as it is, there's nothing you can do.
I must try. Bertha!
Sir, let her go!
Bertha!
She's jumped. Mr. Rochester, look out, sir!
He tried to reach her.
Oh, he tried, but it was no use.
She was dead.
As dead as the stones on the courtyard where a broken body lay. But it was Mr. Rochester I worried about.
He was injured?
Caught under a falling beam.
Oh, you assured me he is alive.
Oh, yes. He is alive. But many think he had best be dead.
But where is he? Is Mr. Rochester in England?
Aye, he's in England. He's not able to go much of anywhere now.
He was hurt that badly in the fire.
Oh, Mr. Rochester is completely blind.
I will pay you well to take me to this place where Mr. Rochester is staying.
Friendin, oh, I don't mind driving there. My sister works for Mr. Rochester, but, I doubt that he'll let anyone in the house.
You must persuade your sister to let me see him. Ask your sister to give me the tray. I will take it to Mr. Rochester.
Oh, I hope we're not doing wrong by letting you into his house. Well, if he orders you out, I'll drive you back to the inn.
Pilot, be quiet. What makes you so excited? Mary, is that you?
Mary is in the kitchen.
Who is that?
Pilot knows me.
But don't take advantage of these sightless eyes. That voice... No, it can't be. Speak again.
You called me. And I have found you.
Give me your hand. Oh, there's no mistake. Jane Eyre.
It is, sir.
Am I hideous, Jane?
Yes, Mr. Rochester. But then you always were, you know.
That's my spirited girl. Great heaven, Jane, how I've missed you. I gave up searching. Where have you been?
It's a long story, sir.
So you have found your independence. Would that I had found mine.
It is not what I expected.
Your own school, or off to India with your missionary. Which will you do?
Why, neither, sir. If you will let me stay and nurse you.
Oh, Jane, a nurse could never bind my wounds. What I need, I can no longer ask of my one true love.
Try me.
Not only these sightless eyes, but also this stump of a hand. The fire was her revenge, Jane.
No more talking about the past.
In spite of my infirmities, I don't need a nurse. I want a wife.
Ask me one more time, Mr. Rochester.
Edward, Jane, Edward. Our roles have changed, and you are now my master.
We are two sides of the same coin, Mr. Rochester, and no one can split it in two.
Perhaps it seems unreasonable that everything worked out so well for such a pair. But that's the way Miss Bronte wrote the story. Along with a number of coincidences we have not had the time to report. At the very end, Charlotte Bronte tells us that Rochester regained the sight of one eye, and that he and Jane lived happily ever after. I'll be back shortly.
Break one, Nana. This here's the sheriff. Any 18-wheelers read me? Dag nabbit, where is everybody when you need them?
This is the KC Kid, Sheriff. You're throwing out a nice, crisp, clean signal.
KC, I ain't asking for a radio check. This is serious business.
You running one of them new 40-channel Johnson CBs, Sheriff? I understand they got a sensational new tapered automatic noise limiter, electronic speech compression.
Now, listen here, boy. I need action out of you, not a lot of gab.
Yes, sirree. The boys at the truck stop say this new Johnson CB is the quietest Johnson ever.
KC, you all better quiet down.
Sorry to interrupt, Sheriff, but KC and his good buddies really know what they're talking about. A recent survey showed that 66 more independent truckers own American-made Johnson CBs than the next leading brand.
Sheriff, you mean you need me for official business?
You better believe it, boy. Now get over here with a can of gasoline. I'm hiding behind that billboard on County 8.
Hey, well, what'd you say, Sheriff? I seem to be losing your signal.
KC, you're gonna be in a heap of trouble, boy.
FCC license required. It's free.
The Gothic novel was very popular in the 19th century, and it's back in style today. Women writers are still leading the field, just as they did in the Bronte's day. There seems to be renewed interest in ghostly mansions, orphan girls, and bold men, both dashing heroes and those with evil intent. I hope you agree that such fare makes good listening. Our cast included Patricia Elliott, Arnold Moss, Lloyd Batista, and Anne Petoniak. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Look out the window.
Okay. Any window?
Any window. Have you ever seen such a garden?
No. I never have.
Such flowering trees?
Those little winding paths. I wonder where they go to.
It isn't raining.
That's right. There's no rain.
The thunder stopped.
But just a few seconds ago. Downstairs. I heard it. I know I heard it.
Look out there. The grass isn't wet. The flowers are all standing up straight. The paths are dry.
Well, now, look, that's not possible. I mean, there couldn't have been a terrific storm in one part of the house and sunlight and roses and all those beautiful things in another part. That's just not possible.
I know.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the fear you can hear. Welcome to the sounds of suspense. Have you ever noticed the similarity between night driving and making your way through life? Driving at night, you can only see as far as your headlights show you the road. You never know what's over the next hill or around the next curve. And even on a straight road, your vision only extends as far as your lights. Life is very much the same. None of us really knows what lies ahead.
You look exactly like my husband. A dead ringer. Here, take a look at this picture.
Hey, that's scary. I didn't know two guys could look this much alike.
How would you like to be my husband?
No way. I like being who I am, Al Grissom.
But don't you see how easy it would be to take his place?
Yeah, you bet. But it's easier to stay away from murder.
Well, who said anything about murder?
You did, my lovely. And my answer is no way.
Our mystery drama, Dead Ringer, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Murray Burnett and stars Leon Janney. It is sponsored in part by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll be back shortly with Act One. You're on a blacktop country road about 18 miles east of the little town of Eudalia. It's raining hard. You're driving a Citroen Maserati, and it handles. But you have your problems. You're going to be late for dinner, and you have a husband who doesn't appreciate lateness. The night seems to be getting blacker, and the rain shows no sign of easing.
Darn this rain. While I'm at it, darn the weatherman who promised clear and cool weather.
Your name is Gloria Winters. And then the headlights pick up something in the road. Whatever it is, it's a problem because it doesn't seem to move.
Come on, stupid, move. Get out of my way. Why, it's a man. What happened?
A car hit me and drove off. Thanks for stopping.
Well, that's okay.
Well, a lot of people didn't.
Do you think you can make it to my car?
Yeah, with a little help.
Okay. There we go. That's it. Steady now.
Yeah, I guess I better...
Just here. Just slip into the seat.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks.
I'll close the door and come around the other side.
Watch yourself. There's some crazy guys driving this road. You're soaked.
And you are hurt. I'll take you to the Hermitage.
What's that?
The hospital.
Oh, no. No hospital.
You're bleeding.
Now, looks worse than it is. It's sure playing hell with your car, huh?
Well, you must go to a hospital.
Oh, no way.
But why?
Because hospitals are for dying.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, that's what everyone tells me.
Oh, I don't care what
Look, I can't ever thank you enough for picking me up, but I have this thing about hospitals.
But you're
I promise you, I'm not going to die.
Okay. Where to?
The Three Coyotes Motel. It's just outside.
I know where it is.
Oh.
No, come on. Just put your head on the pillow and don't be a baby.
You're some dynamite kind of good Samaritan.
Well, I have a right to see what you look like under all that dirt and blood, haven't I?
No argument.
This may hurt.
Oh.
There. Well, now you're beginning to look like you have it perfectly.
It's that bad, huh?
Oh, no. It's nothing. I just thought of something.
Like what?
You look exactly like my husband. But I mean exactly. You could be identical twins. You don't believe me?
No, I believe you.
Well, that's why I got such a shock when I cleaned you up and got a good look at your face in the light. You're a dead ringer for Leo.
Oh. Why does that shake you up?
Oh, Leo and I are having our problems.
Isn't everybody?
I suppose. I'm just wondering...
Yeah?
Well, I'm wondering what you were doing walking down Route 38 in the rain at 6:15.
I missed the bus.
There's no bus on Route 38.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did.
Okay, I suppose you've got a right to know the story. I live in Chicago. I'm a market analyst.
Come again?
I advise my customers about what to do or what not to do in the stock market, sort of a securities specialist.
Mm-hmm. Are you, married?
Oh, no. But that's part of the story. Years ago, I fell in love. She was from Chicago, too, but it didn't work out. You've heard the story 100 million times. You met someone, we said a sentimental goodbye, she cried, I felt sick, and we made the usual commitments. If she ever needs me, you know.
Romantic.
Mm-hmm, romantic. Well, the day before yesterday, I got a call from her. She was living near Eudalia. She was in trouble.
What kind of trouble?
Well, it was private. And there'll be no names.
Okay.
So I came. Naturally, she didn't want her husband to know. She didn't want my car to be seen by the neighbors. Well, you know how small towns are.
Yes, I know.
So I let her call the shots. She picked me up, drove me somewhere close to her house. She was supposed to drive me back, but her husband had called and said he was coming home early.
Well, where was he supposed to be?
He was on a business call that would have kept him from getting home before 9. So our appointment was cut short. She panicked, and I walked, trying to thumb a ride. This widow came along, and pow, and you found me.
What a difference. What a difference. You look like Leo, but you're completely different. Leo wouldn't cross the street to help a blind, crippled kid find his crutch, while you...
And you stopped and picked up a stranger lying in the road.
Well, I told you that Leo and I don't get along.
But you married him.
I didn't know what it would be like. Anyway, what are you going to do now?
Oh, I'm going to change motels and lie low until I can go back to Chicago without having to explain the way I look.
What about the girl you came to help?
No, that was a bad scene. No, nothing I can really do for her. She has a decision to make.
So have I. Will you help me to make it?
If I can.
Oh, you can, Al. You can. In a very big way.
I don't like it, Gloria. I don't like it at all.
You have been saying that for a whole week, Leo.
When's he going back to Chicago?
When the scars heal and nobody will ask questions.
How about the name of the girl he came to help?
He won't tell me.
I don't like it.
Oh, Leo, trust me.
Why?
Because I'm a woman.
If you could give me one good reason...
I've given you 1,000,000 reasons. $1 million. And Al is the man who can do it for us.
You really believe he's leveling about the securities market and his background? Maybe he's conning you.
Why?
Take a look in the mirror.
All right. Suppose he is playing me for a sucker.
And we're
still all right, maybe even better. Just trust me.
Do I have a choice?
You always have a choice. Don't ever forget that. You made one the day you married me. Oh, I do love you, Al.
Me too.
No, we have some serious
Come
things.
here.
Come on, now, be serious.
We can't go on like this.
What?
Isn't that what you were going to be so serious about? Telling me that we can't go on like this?
Well, yes. How did you know?
Oh, because people are more predictable than the stock market. And, darling, I've studied the market, and I know its moves.
Okay. Then continue.
With what?
What else I had to say?
Oh, it was going to go something like this. I told you I was fed up with Leo, and until you came along, I just didn't see any way out, but now...
You're doing super. Go on.
But now, if we love each other, I can divorce Leo, and we'll get married and live happily ever after. Right?
Not exactly.
Where'd I go wrong?
On the divorce.
You don't want to divorce Leo?
I know Leo. He'd never give me a divorce.
Does that matter?
Well, a woman wants a little security.
Hey, with your looks, you don't have to worry about that.
Looks don't last forever.
Well, nothing does.
Some things do.
Okay, name one.
Death?
You know, I never met anyone like you.
Not even that girl you came out here to help?
Not even her.
And you have no parents, no relatives. Nobody except yourself.
Just me and my shadow.
We've talked a lot about Leo. You've never seen him.
And I don't want to.
I'd like you to look at this picture of him.
That's scary. I didn't know two guys could look this much alike.
I told you.
Yeah, but...
You thought I was laying it on for your benefit.
I guess.
And now?
I believe you couldn't tell us apart.
I guess this was in the back of my mind ever since I first saw your face.
What was?
How would you like to be Mr. Leo Winters?
Oh, no way. I like being Al Grissom.
Then you can't be married to Mrs. Gloria Winters.
I thought we were talking about divorce.
You'll have to believe me that Leo won't give me a divorce.
Go back again to me being Leo Winters. That was where you lost me.
Well, you've seen his picture. Don't you see how easy it would be to take his place?
Yeah, fine, but what happens to him?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the problem.
I thought maybe you could think of a way out.
Yeah, I can, but I don't like it.
Try it on me.
No, I think you've already tried it on, and you like it.
Maybe.
Not maybe, positively. That's what you wanted to lay on me when you said you wanted to talk.
You're not only sexy, but you're smart.
Yeah, you bet. Smart enough to stay away from murder.
Well, who said anything about murder?
I did, my lovely, I did. I said murder. And I also said no way.
But that's stupid. You don't even know Leo.
You're really serious about trying to get rid of him.
Oh, think of what it would be like. Mr. and Mrs. Leo Winters, you and me, happily married for the rest of our lives.
Now, you jumped about 3 tracks in a couple of miles. You're too far down the road.
Why?
How did you get Leo to let you come and see me? Did you tell him we were playing backgammon or chess?
Oh, I've told you about Leo.
Well, tell me more.
Well, you know how greedy he is. He thinks that you're going to make him a lot of money with your connections in the Chicago markets.
He does, huh?
No, he's drooling about it.
Okay, but we've still got a little problem to solve about his departure.
Ah, then you're interested.
Lady, if I hadn't been interested, either you or I would have been long gone from this room. You must have been thinking about this for some time.
I have.
And you must have come up with some ideas.
I have.
Well, I'd like to hear them before I commit myself.
You will. But I promised Leo I'd be back at 3:30 sharp. That doesn't give us enough time to discuss it now.
No, but Does give us enough time to
seal the bargain.
Once you agree to discuss the idea of murdering someone, you've taken the first step along a road that is full of hairpin turns, some of which don't even have warning signs. We'll be back shortly with Act Two.
I'm High Brown, producer of Radio Mystery Theater. Our drawing for prizes is now over, and we've been absolutely inundated with mail. But what I find so exciting is your overwhelming encouragement for the return of radio drama. You wrote, you phoned, and some of you asked questions. Please accept my warmest thanks for sharing our belief in Mystery Theater. But regretfully, it's going to take us weeks to sort through the mail to answer specific inquiries. So if that question's still on your mind, or you've just thought one up, please write again, and we'll try for a quick reply. Address Mystery Theater, Box 5152, Radio City Station, New York 10019. Mystery Theater, Box 5152, Radio City Station, New York 10019. And again, thank you.
It's me again, and we're talking about murder. That is, we're not talking about it, but Gloria Winters and Al Grissom are trying to arrange a murder. It isn't a simple task, as you will hear.
No, hiring a killer is just setting yourself up for big trouble.
Well, do you have any better ideas?
No, not yet.
You'd better come up with one, because Leo's getting suspicious.
Oh?
You don't have a gun.
Now, we've been through that.
Well, you could buy one.
And it can be traced.
Not if we get rid of it afterwards.
Gloria, I know the way the police operate. When a husband gets knocked off, the first one they check out is his wife. And statistics show they have a better than even chance of being right.
But I'm going to say it was a prowler.
Now, what makes you think they'll believe you?
Hey. I've got it. Why didn't I think of this before? The same thing that happened to you before, only this time it'll be fatal.
Hit and run?
Of course.
You know, the more we talk, the more I'm beginning to think we ought to forget about the whole thing.
No.
All right? What car are we going to use?
Well, we'll rent one under a false name.
Mm-hmm. And who's going to rent it?
Well...
Now, you see, the guy who rents either one of us a car will remember us. And even if we give a false name...
But why should they be worried if they get the car back?
Because the hit and run will be discovered. They'll start asking questions.
Well, I'll be home with a friend as a witness.
No. Hit and run is a crime. They'll go looking for the driver of the car, and that has to be me. No, I don't like anything we've come up with. And we've got to stop thinking about murder. Well, the cops are going to be looking for somebody and continue to think of more than an accident.
Hit and
run isn't natural. Nobody's going to dig much into what looks like a natural death. If we could get a doctor to sign a death certificate, we'd have it made.
I know a doctor.
Oh? Well, he can't be in on it. He's got to think it's death from some kind of natural cause.
I said I know a doctor.
Who?
His name is Carmody, Hugh Carmody. He's about 85 years old. He's our family doctor. He was my mother's doctor when I was born.
Is he still practicing?
Well, not really. But he refuses to give up the families he's treated for years. So he still looks after me and Leo, sort of inherited him when we got married.
Mm-hmm.
An idea?
Just a glimmer. Would this doctor believe you?
Oh, of course. Come on, let me in on it.
Okay. What do you know about poisons?
Practically nothing.
Yeah, well, that makes us even. Now, what we need is some kind of poison that looks like he died of a stroke or a heart attack or maybe some kind of food poisoning.
Mushrooms.
What?
Toadstools, mushrooms. They're poisonous.
Yeah, but he's not going to eat them.
He will if I cook them.
You know, that might... No. He'll get suspicious if you give them to him and you don't eat them.
Well, we need to know more about poison mushrooms. The library. I'll go there.
Your mind? You'll go asking for a book about mushrooms and then call in this doctor to look at Leo who's just eaten some bad mushrooms.
All right. I understand. But I've still got to... I'll see you later.
Where are you going?
To find out what I want. And nobody will ever know. Al? It's me.
Where have you been?
To see Dr. Comedy.
Of all the dumb plays.
Relax, darling, and give me a kiss. I think I really have something.
What did you do?
Toadstool. A fleshy fungus that is poisonous or inedible as distinguished from an edible mushroom.
Oh, great, great. We knew that before you left.
But we didn't know that aconite, which was formerly much used as a cardiac and respiratory sedative, is the poison that comes from toadstool or monkshood and can be deadly.
You didn't ask?
Of course not. I know that Dr. Comedy always visits his few patients between 3 and 4, so I went to his office and told the nurse I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
She knows me and let me in to wait in his office. And he has a lot of books. So I read.
Yeah, and what did you tell Comedy when he came back?
Oh, he's such an old love. I made up a story about being tired and not feeling well, and he gave me a tonic, which I'm going to get.
You know, maybe we're getting somewhere.
Oh, we're there, darling. We are there.
All right, slow up. Now, first, where can we get the
aconite?
Aconite. Yeah, that's it.
Suppose I told you we don't have to get it.
Well, I'd like to hear why.
Okay. My dad had a bad heart.
Oh, how long ago was that?
About 7 years.
And you're telling me that this Dr. Carmody prescribed aconite?
Right.
Well, how do you know the stuff's still good?
I don't.
Well, it doesn't seem to be.
Well, this is the only way we can handle it. If it doesn't work, we won't get into any trouble. And if it does, we won't get into any trouble either. So what have we got to lose?
You know, when you put it that way...
Do you know any other way?
No.
Then let's try it.
Okay, let's work it out.
Okay. Day after tomorrow, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
That's Eileen's night out.
Right.
I'll buy the mushrooms tomorrow. Then I'll cook a great steak dinner with all the trimmings. And Leo and I will eat it.
And you too?
Of course, I'll have to.
Mm-hmm.
I won't eat too much, though. But enough to make me a little sick.
Yeah.
Then when Leo begins to feel sick, I'll suggest we call the doctor.
Carmody?
Of course, Carmody. He'll come and ask about what we ate, and I'll say steak and mushrooms, and he'll say, mushrooms? And right away, diagnose mushroom poisoning and give us something.
Yeah, I'm with you so far. And then?
And then after he leaves, I'll tuck dear old Leo into bed, tell him I have to go to the drugstore to get something. I'll go down and let you in.
Wait a minute. What do you need me for?
We're in this together, my love. And I want you there.
Yeah, I damn well better disappear after Leo dies.
That will be just fine. And we'll set up a very, very romantic meeting place.
That's real good coffee, Gloria.
Thank you, darling.
You really shouldn't have made that pie. I gotta watch my figure.
I know how much you love it. Do you want to go into the den?
Oh, not particularly. Look.
What?
You feel all right?
I feel fine.
Are you sure those mushrooms were good?
Of course.
I don't know. I feel kind of funny.
Even if they weren't, it's too soon for them to act up.
How do you know?
Oh, I've known about mushrooms since I was a kid.
Well, all the same, I've got pains in my stomach. Call Dr. Carmody. You really think it's the mushrooms, Doctor?
I know it's the mushrooms. It has to be. Both of you ate them, and you tell me, Leo, that you ate more than Gloria.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I get for being a pig.
Well, you're going to be all right. Just stay in bed, and Gloria, you get this prescription filled.
What about the pain?
I'm giving you a sedative also. Yeah, well, I can't understand is how you cooked those mushrooms in the first place, Gloria. Your mother told you about those things when you were a child.
Well, I know, and I feel just awful. I can't explain how it happened. But I'm sorry. I have no excuse.
Yeah, no use crying over spilled milk. Yeah, I better get home to bed. You get that prescription filled, young lady.
Oh, I will. Let me take you to your car.
Hello?
Are you ready to come over and sit with a sick friend?
It worked.
Like a charm.
How was Dr. Carmody?
Just as we planned. He diagnosed mushroom poisoning. Bawled me out gently. But we're lucky. That visit to his office paid off.
How will I get into your house?
Well, you know where the house is?
Yeah, I do.
Park 3 blocks away on Green Tree Lane.
Mm-hmm.
You know that little place I told you about off the road?
Yeah, I remember.
But don't walk the streets. Just cut across the fields. Head straight north. You better take a flashlight. Ours will be the first house you come to. The back door will be open.
Okay, I'm on my way.
Make it fast as you can. I think Leo heard me come back. He'll be yelling for his medicine.
Come in and shut the door.
Okay.
Did you lock it?
No, that's a good idea.
Here, let me. I'm waiting for the kettle to boil.
Why?
Well, you don't think I can give him this stuff straight, do you?
Well, why not? He's expecting medicine, isn't he?
He won't taste it in his tea. He likes it sweet. And I am going to make it very sweet. There. Hand me the cup.
No. You know, I could do with a cup of tea myself.
How about something stronger?
Oh, you got something?
Oh, we're completely equipped.
Huh. Oh, don't forget to wash out the glass and put it away.
Don't worry.
All right. Hey, that's plenty. Have to be able to walk straight.
Well, drink as much as you want. I'll finish what you leave.
Gloria!
Yes, dear?
What happened to the medicine?
I'd better get upstairs. I'll be right back. Save me a drink?
Yeah, how long will it take?
Oh, don't ask me, Al, darling. It's the first time for me, too.
This liquor tastes funny. You know, I'm imagining things I better finish before she gets back. Hey, I feel funny. I better sit down.
Al, what happened?
I'm sorry. I made so much noise. I don't feel too good.
Don't worry about the noise, Al. It's all right with me.
What?
Well, I guess the aconite wasn't too old, Al.
Stupid. This was a setup all the way.
All the way. I must admit you did make it tough.
Not as tough as you made it for me. You know, you're a hell of a
dame. You're right, Al.
No, not dame. I was going to say a hell of a liar.
It wasn't all lies, Al. I'm expensive. And there is $1 million life insurance policy. And when I saw your face, I realized that this was just too good an opportunity to miss.
You know, there's a little something
Help me get him upstairs and into my bed.
Yes, dear.
It's no time to get hysterical.
No, I'm not. It's just funny to me that Al's going to wind up just where he wanted. In your bed.
A murder has been accomplished. The happy couple, Leo and Gloria Winters, still have a way to go before they achieve their goal. But murder sometimes makes for strange and uneasy bedfellows. We'll return shortly with Act 3.
This is WBBM Chicago News Radio 78.
The Scottish poet Robert Burns' oft-quoted line, "The best laid schemes of mice and men oft gang a glee," doesn't seem to apply here. Leo and Gloria Winters have successfully killed Al Grissom. the man who looked enough like Leo Winters to have been his twin. They've carried him up to Leo's bed, and now at 4 o'clock in the morning, a frantic Gloria has summoned her sleepy and bewildered family doctor, for whom she plays the distraught and bereaved wife.
I don't understand.
Neither do I, Doctor. I gave him the medicine you prescribed, and he seemed to feel better. And he dropped off to sleep, and he...
I think you'd do well to take that sedative yourself. You can't go on this way.
It's all my fault if I hadn't given him...
No, it's no one's fault, Gloria. If there's any blame attached to this tragedy, it's mine. But certainly his symptoms earlier didn't seem to warrant more action than I took.
Oh, Leo's gone. I killed him. Oh, God.
Gloria?
I'm sorry, Doctor.
It's all right. It's perfectly understandable in this situation. Now, I want you to take this sedative and go downstairs and lie down. I'll attend to everything.
All right, I will. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Gloria. Have I ever told you how clever you are?
Not more than 1,000,000 times in the last week.
That's an exaggeration.
So?
So I love you.
You should. Without me, would we be here on Riviera in France, living the way we've always wanted, with $1 million, and the whole world waiting to see that we enjoy ourselves?
Do you think we can ever go back to the States?
Well, I don't want to. Do you, Leo?
Watch the Leo.
I'm sorry. I've been pretty good, though, lately, haven't I, Al?
You've been great. You must have really been good with old Doc Carmody, too.
Oh, he was so upset and so confused. I threw the most beautiful fit of hysterics you ever saw.
Wish I could have seen it.
Oh, I was so broken up. So he insisted on handling everything, even the insurance people. He never gave them a chance to question anything. He signed the death certificate and had the body out of the house and into the crematorium before they ever got there.
What about returning to the U.S.?
Oh, I don't think we should for a while. Maybe in a couple of years, But never to Eudalia. Maybe San Francisco, New York.
We'll see. How about a dip?
Al! Al Grissom. A pleasure to see you again, Al. How you doing? Now, that's a silly question. I can see you're doing great. No one stays at a class hotel like this unless he's doing great. But I always said you had class, Al. Yes, and style. Oh, you want to introduce me to the girl who's hanging on to you?
I'm afraid you've got the wrong man.
Don't you mean you're afraid I got the right one, Al?
Look, I don't know you. I've never seen you before in my life.
Now, you're not being smart, Al, and you were always very smart. That is, until 3 months ago, when you made your first mistake.
Hey, come on, darling. Let's get away from this.
You forget it. You're finished with that getting away stuff.
Well, how can I prove to you that you've made a mistake? My name isn't Al Grissom.
Al.
You're registered under a false name? Come on, Al. I'd recognize you anywhere. But I still can't figure why you didn't try some kind of face job. But like I said, you haven't played this very smart from the beginning.
Look, mister...
Oh, the name is Grafton. Lou Grafton. And I'll meet you at the Promenade Cafe in an hour. 1 hour, Al. And you be there.
Who is this guy?
Don't ask me.
And who should I ask?
Maybe Al.
Very funny. Didn't Al ever mention this Lou Grafton? Must have said something.
Nothing.
Well, I don't believe you.
But why would I lie?
I don't know. But you certainly were cozy enough with Al
I
to know...
found out what I had to. What we had talked about. He had no family, no relatives, nothing, nobody to trace.
I'd better meet this guy and find out what he's talking about.
I'll go with you.
I don't think that's smart.
We're in it together, Al. Who knows? I may even be able to help.
Glad you could make it, Al. Sit down.
This is Gloria.
Nice meeting you again, Gloria. Tell her you'll meet her in a little while, Al.
She's in on this.
On the whole deal?
Yes.
You've certainly changed, Al. You never put a dame on the spot before.
On the spot? Oh, well, look. All I meant is that she's with me. You've made a mistake, and I don't even know what you're talking about.
Darling, why don't we listen to what he has to say?
Smart. Al, this is the only time I'm going to go soft. The only time. Well, because we've known each other so long, and... well, because we didn't pull it off the first time. Now, I've talked to John. I got him to agree that if you give us the whole take, we'll forget about what happened.
The whole take?
The whole $2 million, Al. All of it. Well?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
What's there to think about? What's your alternative? You gonna try to run again? You know we'll get you. You've seen it happen 100 times to other guys who tried to cross us. Now you just tell us where and when we can pick up the cash. And just thank God that I could make the deal for you.
It isn't all that easy.
What's your problem?
It's no use. You wouldn't believe
If you got a problem, you know we can help, but don't give me any fairy tales.
I need time.
For what?
To think.
There's nothing to think about it.
Well, from what you said.
How much time?
Another day.
Oh, no deal.
Look, if you want to do business with me, you'll just have
Tonight. You'll be in your room at 10. That's plenty of time to think. And while you're at it, think about doing it our way. Or this time, you'll really end up very dead.
$2 million.
That's a lot of dollars.
Yeah, you're a big help.
Well, I might be if you'd stop repeating the figures over and over again.
There's no way we can get $2 million. I've got to prove to them that I'm not Al Grissom. Then they'll leave us alone.
And how do you do that?
Of course. Fingerprints. I'll have absolute proof. Even those guys will believe fingerprints.
And who's going to tell them? You?
No. I've got to arrange somehow for the police to send my prints to Washington or somewhere.
And the police will get word back that these aren't the fingerprints of Al Grissom, but really the prints of a man named Leo Winters, who supposedly died 1 month ago and whose widow collected $1 million in life insurance.
You're right. That's the only way to go. How do we convince him I'm not Grissom?
I don't know. We went to a lot of trouble to prove to the world that you were.
Who was this Grissom? He must have been awfully big to get into a deal like this.
I think he must be calling you.
Me?
Who else?
Well, I don't want to answer it.
Well, that's not smart. They know we're here.
Now, don't start talking like Grafton. Hello?
Al, it's me.
What do you want?
Al, I was wondering whether you'd made up your mind.
Not yet.
It's 9 o'clock.
You said 10.
I did, but, John's not happy.
What do I care about John?
You should, Al. After all, he's got a real legitimate beef. You worked for him for years. You were always clean. You took the hot stocks and you cashed them. You made money, and so did we, but, I guess the $2 million got to you.
Look, I've got some more thinking to do, and I'll see you at 10.
Well?
I know who and what Grissom was. He took hot stocks and bonds and cashed them, and then turned the cash over to...
The boys?
I suppose you could call him that.
Does that help any?
A little, maybe.
How?
At least we know what they're after. If there was some way we could trap them... Some way to fool them.
Well, suppose there were, then what?
I don't know yet. Play along with me when Grafton comes up at 10. Yes?
Grafton. You finished thinking?
All finished.
And?
I'll go along with you.
Now, why couldn't you have told me that this morning? You had to get John's blood pressure up.
Forget John. I told you I had problems.
And I told you it would help.
I don't have the $2 million with me.
We never figured you did. Where is it, Chicago?
I'll pick it up.
When?
As soon as I can.
Would you stop playing games? When?
It's back in the States.
Okay. Now, you'll get the next plane.
Now, not so fast. It's somewhere in Eudalia, and I can't go back there.
Why not?
A little something. The cops might want to talk to me.
About what?
About a girl I visited there, and an old friend.
What's wrong with visiting an old friend?
Nothing. If you don't get caught by her husband and get into a fight, beat him up, and he calls the cops.
That's not much of a rap.
That's right. But you don't want to see me in jail.
Yeah, you got a point. We'll pick up the dough.
No way.
Why not? We're going to get it anyway.
You're going to get it. But I want some assurance that I'm going to be okay.
You have my word.
Well, I'd like a little more than that.
Like what?
Well, that's what I've been trying to figure out. Some way I'll be sure that...
Look, if you haven't figured it out by now, you're not going to.
Well, I get the plane tickets. You sure don't give me much time.
We gave you time before, Al. Too much time.
Will you stop pacing up and down like an animal?
Gloria, I think I may have an idea.
I hope.
On the plane, I'll tell them I figured it out. Since I can't go back to Eudalia, I'll insist that I want someone representing me when they pick up the money.
But there is no money.
They don't know that. I'll insist that you go along.
Hold it.
You'll be all right.
What happens when they find out there isn't any money and I'm there and you're not?
Put in a call to Carmody. Tell him you can't get over what's happened, that you need help, and that you've gotten into some kind of trouble. He should have the police there. Then you take them to the doctor's house, and with the cops there, you'll be in the clear.
And you?
I'll be gone. I'd rather be alive and running than the other way.
I don't like it.
Then think of something better, because that's the way I'm going to play it.
Now, Al, I know you won't get any crazy ideas at this stage of the game, but just in case you do, these two young fellas here are in our party. And they'll be on the plane with us, all the way to Chicago. Thanks.
Flight 396 to New York, now loading at gate 3. Flight 396, now
let's go.
loading at gate 3.
Excuse me. One moment, please.
What do you want?
Lieutenant Fourneau, Interpol. I believe you are Mr. Leo Winters.
I'm afraid you're mistaken. I've known this man for years. His name is Al.
Mr. Winters.
You heard him. You've got the wrong man.
Please, don't make a fuss, Mr. Winters. I'm instructed to hold you for the murder of an Alvin Grissom in Eudalia.
Hold me. What about her? She's my wife, and she was in on this from the beginning. The whole thing.
We know all about Mrs. Winters. In fact, she was the one who informed us about the murder. In return for some small promises.
She told? She...
You asked me, remember? You said, think of something better. And I did.
Come along, Mr. Winters. Gentlemen, you'll excuse us.
I'm coming, Lieutenant. I'm coming without any trouble. You see, Grafton, you didn't believe me. If you'd only have believed me, maybe we could have worked out a deal after all.
The Winters had a good plan, and it all would have worked, except for one thing they couldn't have foreseen: the bend in the road ahead, and what lay around it. I'll return shortly. If Gloria and Leo Winters could have known what lay ahead of them, they would never have gone through with their plan. That is, if they could have seen into the future and around the bend. Yet actually being able to see into the future, to know what's going to happen next week, next month, next year, is a gift that most of us wouldn't want. Because who knows what terrors may lie ahead. Our cast included Leon Janney, Joan Lovejoy, Larry Haynes, Paul Hecht, and Robert Dryden. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Rotten.
such things as ghosts. I'm just imagining things. But I see you. I see you. No, don't hurt me. Whatever you are, please, stay away from me. I'll go right down the stairs, walk out of the house, and never come back. Is that what you want? Please. No! Don't touch me! Let me out!
Suicide. That's what all the papers say, Mr. Garth. But we know better. That house is haunted.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.